Hello, everyone. Everyone, I have Nkem on the house. Hello, Nkem, my dear daughter. Thank you for coming. Kenny, my husband, thank you so much for your support all the time. Um, we have Erica. Thank you for coming, Erica. Good morning. And hello to everyone, because I can see people are coming from all, different parts of the world here with all the different time zones. Thank you all for coming on, and I appreciate your presence. Today, we're going to be talking about something that is so important, especially at this time of the year with the COVID and, you know, Christmas and holiday season and all of it, So it brings all the stress, and it's just been a year that has impacted each and every one of us in a very um, challenging way. And so talking about stress and health becomes a very important conversation. And today we are bringing on a very special, dear friend of this channel, a lady who has supported this channel from the onset. She's a big fan of this channel, and I am so honored to have her here today to talk to us about the impact of stress on our health. So I'm gonna I don't know if to just go ahead and start. Still waiting for people to log on, or we should just start. I think we should just go ahead and start. So I'm going to be bringing her on, our special guest for today, Dr. Amaka Agiriga. So I'm going to bring her on to the channel. Hello, Dr. Amaka Agiriga. I am so honored to have you here today. You have so supported this channel from the onset, and I really appreciate all you have done to help this channel grow to this length today. Really feel honored with the wealth of knowledge that you're bringing to my audience. I appreciate that you have spared your time to come and give us this session that usually you would earn a lot of money for. But today you're offering it as with your generous heart to this channel to educate us. Thank you so much for coming. So I'm going to read your profile to my audience so that they would know where you're coming from and all this your acquired knowledge. You're so well learned. So Amaka Agiriga is a United States citizen who originates from Nigeria. She enjoys tennis, hiking, cycling, walking, jogging, dancing, and volunteering in her community. She attended Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, and Capella University, Minneapolis. Her degrees in sociology and anthropology in her BA, mental health counseling master's degree, and in psychology for her PhD. She is involved in numerous volunteer efforts in her community. She possesses excellent organizational and management skills and a work ethic that is unsurpassed. Dr. Amaka Okeke-Agiriga has extensive experience in judging and organizing in public and private sectors. Some of her voluntary services include serving as a judge in the Texas Association of Future Education in Corpus Christi Independent School District, Region 2, mental health presenter, co-presenter, Fall Island Fair at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, Texas, Kingsville pageant judge, homecoming king and queen judge at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, presenter and MC, cultural awareness program for International Day at Texas A&M University. She was also a school teacher for 15 years at the Corpus Christi Christian Fellowship and a worship dance minister. Oh my goodness. Wow. She worked at the criminal justice system and contributed to policy changes and development. Other organizations impacted by her ability are the Behavioral and Psychiatric Hospital, inpatient and outpatient facilities, Office of the Attorney General, Head Start program, elementary and high schools, just to mention a few. Currently, she is a professor who teaches both undergraduate and graduate students in a face to face and online environment at various colleges and universities. In her capacity as a mental health counselor stroke psychologist, she provides telehealth and face to face psychotherapy to children and adolescents and adult clients. She is the sole proprietor of Vision of Hope, a mental health counseling, training, and consultation agency which provides services to diverse population from ages 3 to geriatric population in an online setting. Most of all, the smile she brings to the faces of those who cross her path is her greatest accomplishment. Oh my goodness. Wow. This is so impressive. And I am so honored to have you here. Thank you once again for coming to share your wealth of knowledge with my audience. So, Dr. Agiriga, the floor is open for you to share with us.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ofondo. The pleasure is all mine. You are so right that I've followed your channel for quite some time. Actually, I share this channel with my students at Texas A&M University. And equally, they've been so impressed. I've received a couple of emails from students telling me that this has been very, very effective and impactful, the knowledge that you bring. And so for me, it's an honor to be here. And let's talk. Let's talk about health. Let's talk about stress and health. Especially, you're so right about stress being a topic that right now, it affects so many people in the community and all over the world, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, now Christmas around the corner, and of course, it's even more stressful. And so, this is an important topic for everyone, hopefully, to benefit from. So, first of all, let's see what stress is all about. So, when you talk about stress or you think about stress, you're thinking about some challenging events, or you think about maybe events that are threatening to us as human beings. When we think something is a threat to us, it causes some amount of stress. And of course, or when we cannot handle them, it becomes really because it is challenging, so we cannot handle them. And so the stress even accumulates some more. But when you think about stress, you think about how do we accumulate this stress? How does it even come to us? How do we experience it? You think about where do they come from? Well, there's something called stressors. All the little things that bugs us here and there. I'm kind of glad that you this is an informal conversation, and so I will keep it at that. There are little things that bug us from day to day. Sometimes it happens just like this, and sometimes, it takes its accumulated events, and then, of course, we find ourselves until we're not able to cope. And of course, if we're not able to manage this well, guess what? It could actually kill us. Okay, so we are going to look at the triggers of this stress. Okay, the one thing I want us to pay attention to is the fact that sometimes something happens that is really stressful and it causes us to be sick or ill. Guess what happened? We treat the illness. For example, it gives us headache. Well, we take something like Tylenol or Motrin. We said, oh, okay, the headache is gone. Well, the headache might be gone for a second, but the stressor, what caused that stress to come into being, is still there untreated. That is why it is so important to go down to the roots so that when you're able to manage these stressors or take away those stressors, maybe when you take that Tylenol and the headache goes away, you will truly be free from the stress. So now let's look at the sources of stress. Maybe. Um,
So, do you want me to?
Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Those are some of the things I want us to look at today.
Okay. So, my question today for you would be, what would you say are the different types of stress?
Say that again, please.
What would you say are the different types of stress?
Oh yeah, there are so many kind of stress that there are in, but I will concentrate on two which really I want us to probably expand and talk about during this conversation. There is acute stress and there is chronic stress. Acute stress, something that just happened right away. For example, you narrowly miss being hit by a car, or you narrowly missed an accident. Guess what happened? When that happens, it's like your body is like for a second, um, you're sweating and your heart is beating really fast. But guess what happened? Acute stress is really easier to be managed than the chronic stress because it happens right away. And once, of course, you find out, oh, okay, I'm fine. I didn't have the accident. Then you find yourself, you breathe, and you're like, okay, thank you, Jesus. This did not happen. But then chronic stress is the one you need to watch out for. Chronic stress are the little things that happens from day to day. For example, even something as simple as waiting in line. Let me give an example. For example, let's say Jane, Jane. Let's say Jane decided to go to work. Well, one, Jane was late waking up. And then, of course, Jane is now stressfully getting ready for the day. And Jane got into her car, and of course, there is traffic. And Jane is all stressed out and thinking, how am I going to get to work? Am I going to get fired? And what is going to happen today? And of course, after she went through all this traffic jam, and she realized, oh my God, I need coffee. And then she tried to wait for the coffee, and then there is line again. So she's waiting for her to get her coffee. And then she gets to work. By this time, when she gets to work, Jane is almost a wreck. And guess what? Let's say Jane went to work, complete work, went home. And then let's say Jane is a mother, Jane is a wife. And then Jane has to have children hug her when she comes home. And she's not in the mood to be hugged because she's already gone through so many stressful events all through the day. Guess what happened? Eventually, she finished. She completes everything she had to do in the day and she went to bed. And the next day, it starts all over. These are accumulated stress. These are stress that we call chronic. They continue. And guess what? It builds up. When it's building up, it's like almost like No Way Out. I wonder if somebody has watched the movie No Way Out by with Kevin Costner. No way out. So stressful. And so guess what? Jane continued this stressful. Oh, let's look at even someone, a child who is raised in an environment, a poverty-stricken environment. This child is thinking, when am I going to get my next meal? Well, this child not only is wondering about the next meal, this child is thinking, how come nobody cares about me? Emotionally, this child is um, really have accumulated stress. And guess what happened? This can compound this child's ability to function and think or cognitively embrace information when given to this child. Guess what? If you send a child like this to school, guess what happened? This child is going to go to school and not learn anything much. And it's easy for somebody to stand and say, oh my God, this child IQ level is low. No, this child IQ level is not low. The child, the child's health was compromised by little stress that compounded and immune system, of course, also, and this child could get sick, but hopefully we'll touch on that in a little bit.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is very impactful. Um, it's unfortunate that, life is not so fair that some people go through so much, and some people just have it all made easy for them, and hopefully they would appreciate and be thankful for that. So my next question would be, what are the causes of stress? What causes this stress?
That's really a good question because we want to know what are some of the things. I have given an example of how it can impact an individual and impact a child. Now let's look at where this stress comes from. Life changes. You know, people always think that life changes, for example, is when probably somebody is, probably somebody, a loved one, passed away, and that could cause them some amount of stress. Now, even when you get married, something good happens to you. It means your life just changed. Let's look at the pandemic. That will fall into that. By the way, remember how I talked about chronic stress?
Mhm.
The pandemic has lasted since when? Since February, March, and we're still at it. Remember that chronic stress can last once it is past 6 months. Think about, let's say, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We're in the ninth month. This has become chronic where people are now facing day to day. Am I going to get sick? Am I going to so? And when your life change, whether it's getting married, whether a disease befalls the person, or you're thinking it befalls your neighbor, and you're wondering, are you going to be next? This is where it comes from. There's also frustrations in life. Things, second one is frustration. First, there is life changes. Second, there is frustrations. Frustrations could come from even your work, your employment, where probably things are not going well. Maybe it's your time to get some form of promotion and that is not happening. And you get frustrated, or somebody blocks your goal and you find out you're frustrated about that, and you go to your home. There could also be frustration coming from your home. If things are not going the way that you had planned them, that could cause frustration. That's another source of stress. Another source of stress is life hazards, which includes almost everything that I have described. And then, of course, there is conflict. The fourth one is conflict. Conflict in the sense, it could be conflict with somebody and it could be conflict within yourself, or it could be conflict in making decision. I'll give you one good example. Right now, we are this close to getting the vaccine, at least the general population, like you and I. We're this close to getting vaccinated. And there are people in the family right now trying to decide, should we get the vaccine or shouldn't we get the vaccine? This causes serious amounts of stress in a family, especially if you are the one who is making the decision for your family. It's because you're not sure, should I get the vaccine? It is going to affect us negatively or positively. What would the outcome be? You know, that is another one. What about job stressors? I think I've included that. And what about things like social media? That's mangoes. But anyway, these are some of the things that could cause people stress.
Hmm. Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable all that you are sharing with us today, and I am sure that the audience here are. I can see. I don't know if you see some of the comments. At least you are we're making an impact with this information, and that's why we're having it. Thank you so much again for your time. And this is a volunteer thing; you're not paid for it, so I have to really let the audience know that as well. My next question is, could you tell us what what will be the effects of the stress? What are the effects of stress?
Some of the effects of stress when somebody does find a situation where they either probably acute stress or chronic stress that has been ongoing. Something that could happen is one, stress could affect somebody's ability to think. Their cognition will be impacted. Hopefully, I will go into a little detail if we have time in that. Somebody cannot think straight. For example, remember how I gave you an example of a child raised in an environment where his food is not easily accessible, or well-being is not okay, or there is no good nurturing in the family. Well, that definitely will affect. Think about it. If somebody is really, really stressed out, okay, you'll find out that your ability to think, your hippocampus can be affected, because maybe this natural hormones that is supposed to help you is not working as well as it's supposed to work, hormone cortisol. Guess what happens? It could damage your hippocampus, which is the seat of emotion. Well, your feelings are all over the place and your thought processes. And on that part of your brain also, you're supposed to be able to learn. You're not learning when you're stressed out. Think about it if you're in school as a student and you're stressed out with so many things, for example, life changes and frustrations and some of those things I have described. Well, you're not focused on trying to learn anything. And of course, if you take exam and then you feel more accumulated stress, because now you're thinking, am I allowed to retake this? And this happens also to we adults. Okay, so definitely also stress can also cause heart attack. Sometimes they call it cardiovascular disorder. It affects your heart, and it could cause someone, or rather, because they are compromised, the immune system is compromised, of course, they are vulnerable to even having cancerous diseases also. And of course, there is the PTSD. PTSD is the post traumatic stress disorder. Stress could cause someone to have that, and sometimes PTSD is prolonged. It could happen in children, it could happen in adults, and of course, older adults. Okay. So when people, these are things that probably have happened over time. And of course, in someone's past, and now as the stress is being accumulated, boom, it's right there. Now you're suffering chronic depression. Okay. And of course, it can also affect us or cause us to have gastric ulcers where your stomach lining is affected. All this is because stress has compromised your immune system. And guess what? It's almost like all the infections that passes through, you're like, somebody is coughing. You're like, give me that cough because your immune system is compromised. Think about even this COVID-19. One thing that they have told us over and over again, you need to, even though you need to wear your mask, of course, you need to wash your hands all the time, follow the CDC guideline. One big thing is you have to build up your immune system. With stress, you are not able, it's difficult for you to build your immune system because it compromises that. And so you're susceptible to illnesses. Something like COVID, it comes your way, it's not going to take time for you to catch it. So those are some of the ways that stress can impact our health.
Hmm. Wow. Doctor, thank you so much for all of this information. I couldn't thank you enough. I'm so thankful, and I'm sure the audience, are enjoying all the information that you're giving us. We have two questions. I don't know if you would like to address them, or I know I have the questions we have here on the screen in the chat. I have them as part of the question that I was planning to ask you. So you decide, because I know time is of essence. You have to leave in in 30.
You're frozen. I'm not sure. It appears you're frozen. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Maybe I should type it. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure if I should get out and come back in. So I saw the question that is on the screen. Right now, I'm not seeing Mrs. Ufondo, but the question on the screen says, so how do we deal with stress? Well, that's a good question. It's actually a question that would have been good to respond at the end of, but I will go ahead and respond to this question right now. How do we manage this stress? Some of these stressful events. You're back. Hello.
I was back. I was just like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. Thank you. Thank you all for your patience. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So I saw the question on the screen. Would you like me to respond to that?
Yes, of course, please, if you don't mind.
Yes. The question says, how do you manage stress? Well, there are different ways that one can manage the stress that they feel. I will start by saying one can look into what is called mindfulness based stress reduction. It's a training that one could have where the person can learn to identify some of the stress that they have and decide to, in a non judgmental way, also accept. It's almost like, okay, I have A, B, C, D that is causing me stress. Maybe you are not able to deal with them. You say, okay, these are things I cannot deal with. Maybe, unfortunately, there are things that could cause us stress that we can say, let's embrace it. Let's embrace it because we're not, for example, well, I'm not very skinny. And this causes me stress and causes me some form of, give me some form of low self esteem. Well, Amaka, you are not skinny. So I embraced it. I said, well, I'm going to be the best plump person I'm going to be. And of course, you try not to judge other people and you embrace other people in a non judgmental way. And that could really decrease some of the stress that you have. One, be honest, just be kind. When you're kind, I don't know if you are familiar with it is a phrase. It's they call it the feel good do the do good feel good phenomenon. Well, you just continue to be as kind as you are as you can. Secondly, there is social support. Social support is very important. When you think about social support, you think about where you can have friends, you can have your family, where you can go to them, you can express some of these symptoms of stress that you have and talk about it. Find somebody you trust in your social setting. Do things, some activities with them. You can exercise. Number three, exercise works equally well to help with the stress that people feel. Exercise, exercise, exercise. Exercise does not mean that you go to the gym and kill yourself. It could be just putting one foot in front of the other, but move, 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 do something that will help. And then gradually you can, of course, get used to it and you continue to do well in that area. Number four, behavior change. You look at things that are causing you stress. Say, you know what? I'm done with it. I don't want to live like this. Change. Do the reverse. You may not be able, it's easy to tell somebody to change behavior. Because if somebody has probably behaved in a certain way for too long, it becomes part of them. It becomes something that they are used to. Classical conditioning, you're conditioned to behave in a certain way. But guess what? You can learn gradually to change this behavior and say, I am going to do just one day at a time, change something that you do not like that causes you stress. Number five, stressor control, which is part of number four. Attempt to control some of those stress that you are having. Number six, just relax. Relaxation technique works all the time. Breathe. Say, you know, this time is for me. I do this all the time. I get into my bedroom. I tell my children, this is mommy's time. And I walk into my room and I just lay there, sometimes with the light on, light off, just breathe, relax, and think about something positive. It does work. It's called being optimistic versus pessimistic. Be optimistic, be positive. It does work. It works for me. Every single thing that I have explained to you right now, it does work for me because I do some of them. So I'm not just saying them. And I teach. A student was asked me at Texas A&M and said, Dr. Giriga, do you ever, because I'm like this, smiling all the time. And this student, well, I've had that question a couple of times. And they asked me, do you ever get angry? Do you ever get stressed? I said, of course. I just don't let it stay. It does work for me. And I explained to them, and they have used some of these 6 techniques. These are the basic, simple techniques that you could use. And it does work, and hopefully it works for you.
Wow. Oh my goodness. This is wonderful. Thank you. Why is it not going from my end? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Um, now it's going, I can't even talk.
I can hear you.
Okay, so I have another question right now on the screen that says, Dr. Agiriga, I know you've answered this question. It was actually, that was why I put it up, because when you were answering the other question, you touched on this one. It's up to you to decide, do we go to the next question, or have you answered this, or do you want to touch on it a little bit for Rose who's on my TV? She's yeah.
Thank you so much, Rose Uzama. That is a really good question because young mothers, especially, and guess what? I was once, my children are grown, okay, but I was once a young mother. How can you, as a young mother, handle stress? Well, you do from 1 to 6 that I explained. Then, as a young mother, learn to relax when you have the time. I promise you, your little child will still be there when you come back. Your child will not run away, or your children who are between ages, say 2 to 7 or 11, they will still be there. So you set a precedence. This is how this is going to work in your household with your children. You start on set to raise them in a way that they understand these are the guidelines that are in our home. Because if you spring something on these little children, because you have not been doing them, consistency. Remember how I talked about classical conditioning? People get conditioned to behave in a certain way, and it does work. If you already from day one set precedents, this is how the home is going to be. This is playtime. This is where you put the toys in. These children, if you do it consistently, they learn to do that. And of course, when they are resting, you rest. Don't stress about things that has not been completed. Know that this is your time. Use it. If you're consistent in a home and guide your little children, and of course, love, bring that positive attitude. Of course, if you're married, it's also important that you consider your spouse. Have conversation with your spouse. Have conversation with your children. I used to have, my children still tells me about conversations that we had when they were even 3, 2, and 4 years old. Yes, I had them that boom, boom, boom. But guess what? With consistency, it has worked, and I've learned to truly rest as well and relax at my own time. Lock the door. I could hear them behind my door, somebody trying to knock, and one says, "Oh, it's mommy's resting time. She's resting." They're like, "Oh, okay." It does work.
Yes. Wow. This is I can actually connect to this answer that you're giving, because when you raise kids, you kind of see sometimes they're not really stressed themselves, or they're not needing anything, but they're just needing attention.
Mm,
So being consistent, like the doctor is saying, like you have, from your qualification, you have done it all, seen it all, dealt with young people, old people. You've even been in the judge, with the judge and all of that, and said, man, like you've done a lot. So you are talking from educational experience, and with, as a mother, and all of it. So we really appreciate what you're bringing on. We have another question, and as I'm looking at time, because I know you have to go in 15 minutes because you have another appointment. Really appreciate your time. Um, if I may ask you, we might actually be having a part two of this, because I still have like 4 questions here to be answered, and we have 16 minutes to go.
mhm.
So, and I think it would be nice to, if you don't mind, we can decide that we can do a part two of this, so that we'll be able to go through all of the questions for the audience to benefit from. Because if we rush it, then it's going to be like a half-baked cake. So Cynthia also has another question on the screen. So we might, if you don't mind, I'm thinking it might be best to kind of answer the question. And then if we're going to do a part two, then we can continue with the questions we have, so that we don't run out of time. You know what I mean? Doctor, would that be okay with you? I'm not putting you on the spot, but I'm just looking at how things are going, and time is flying, and I thought we should just talk about it. So, Cynthia's question is, what are the symptoms, which you have answered, but she said you mentioned heart attack. So she wanted to know the symptoms that will relate to heart attack, and when do you get doctor's attention when you get these symptoms?
Cynthia, hello. I like how you said when you get the doctor's attention, because I am a psychologist. I am not a medical practitioner. But of course, in the field of psychology and my experience with psychotherapy, like I explained before, of course, the one co-experience heart attack, okay, because the immune system is compromised. Some of the cells that are supposed to work in your body is not functioning well because of that immune system that is compromised. But the early symptoms that you'll be seeing is like if you're having pain in your shoulder blade, your arm, chest, and jaw, your left arm, or even upper abdomen is very discomforted, and they are very kind of restricted, tight, and you cannot breathe. Hey, call 911. Do not call your mother. Do not call anybody. Call 911 if that is happening. If someone is around, of course, if this is happening to you, probably you're not able to do that. If you have children, you can educate them. If mommy has ABCD, please call 911. If you have these symptoms and they pass, for example, and after they pass and you're able to breathe again, you're not having those tight in your chest and all that, please run. Don't walk. Run to the emergency room. And of course, the medical practitioner, they will take it up from there.
Hmm. Wow, thank you. So I don't know, Cynthia, do you have any further question on this one? Did she explain it the way is that okay? Okay, maybe she's not here.
Okay.
Did she say something, Cynthia? Okay. Okay, so let's get on. I don't know if there's any other question that I missed. I don't think so. Nature James, you're welcome. I'm welcoming everybody. Chikeli, doctor. What I'm going to do is, because the doctor is on time schedule, So we're just going to finish and then we can hang out a little bit and I'm going to appreciate everybody in the house. So let's get the maximize our time with the doctor so that before she leaves, because she has to leave once it's in 12 minutes. So the next question that we have is I was going to ask how one can cope with stress. You almost talked about it, or do you want to still talk about it? It's
Yes,
already
I
answered it.
cover almost that, but there is something I hope to add. Our body are designed to manage stress. And some of us don't know that. Like something happened, we already like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You raise your hand and screaming. And no, our body is designed to manage stress. It's almost normal. Let's say, for example, there are three phases that our body goes through when you are faced with stressful situation. One is the first initial set of it where you are alarmed and say, oh my God, this is happening to me. That alarm phase is the area that tells you something is really going on with you and you're not able to cope with it and it's challenging and you're not able to adapt as well. But guess what? Your body can resist the stress. That is because we have a hormone cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that we have already in us. It's called hormone cortisol. This hormone, what it does is to help us to manage some of the stressful events that we have in life. So, guess what? See how it happens. Let's say, for example, that I've been going all through this stressful situation. Hey, guess what? This hormone that we have in us says, oh my goodness, Amaka really needs my help. I'm sure every one of us is familiar with the fight or flight syndrome, which happens in our central nervous system. Okay. A part of it, when something happens, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Should I run towards it or should I fight it? What do I do? Okay. And so when this happens and you have all this stressful situation coming on, guess what could happen to you? Well, your heart will be beating so fast. You will be perspiring a lot. And you see your muscle will be constricted. And also your metabolism is like, okay, you're just gonna, nothing is going to happen. Even if you go to restroom 10 times, your metabolism is almost shut down at that moment when you have this serious stress coming on. You're sweating, your heart beating so fast and all that. But guess what happened? At that point, this hormone cortisol say, hey, this person needs help. And it produces. When it produces, it causes you to kind of relax, where you find all the tension and constriction and all these effects that you have or heart rate, because when it produces this hormone, which we already have, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not dead already, or I didn't have an accident, or I didn't die, you find yourself, you come back to a state of balance, homeostasis, as some people will call it. Okay. But guess what? This same hormone that is supposed to help us to get better, we have it already. It produces to help us to rescue us naturally from the stress that we are experiencing. This same hormone could cause you harm. HARM. It could cause you harm. How? Because then maybe if your stress is overly, it's too much stress, guess what happens? You find that this hormone is like, oh my God, Amaka really needs my help, and then it produces, but then it overproduces. That is the danger, because the stress that you have is just too much. And so it overproduces itself. Guess what happened? Oh, when it overproduces, it just shuts down so many things in your body. And that is where you get to the stage, the third stage, which is exhaustion stage. Exhaustion. EXHAUS, I think TION. Okay, I'm going to school to spell now. Okay, so you're so exhausted, and if care is not taken, one could actually die from this accumulated stress. And of course, all these situations that I described, like the heart attack, all this could happen during this time. So, also, what happens when your body produces this hormone so much because it's trying to rescue you, but then it's like, okay, let me rescue Amaka, but guess what? It overproduces itself. It damages. For example, I mentioned the hippocampus before. The hippocampus is the area that helps you to learn. It is the area that, of course, also your emotion is like your emotion is messed up. And guess what happened? It affects your immune system. Again, everything goes back to immune system. It affects your immune system, which causes you to be susceptible to infections, which means, again, if already you're not feeling well, it just makes it worse. Or if there is an infection right there or a disease right there, you're easily could just take it
Wow.
because your immune system is affected.
Wow.
Yeah,
Everything is immune system. COVID showed us.
it's big. It's
Thank
big.
you. This is awesome. Really, really very informative. Kelly Chikali is saying, Chikali Beauty. I have another question from Erica here. She's asking, I'm sure you can say it. Do men display the same symptoms of stress as women? Because men, according to the question, seems to have the ability to hide stress until it's too late.
You're right. They do hide the stress, but yes, they do experience the same stress that we have, the same way that we experience it, even if not more. Remember when I talked about managing stress, I talked about social support. Women have those. Men, find out in every almost all your family members, or even you, if you're married, you will find out that your husband, actually, most of your friends, when they are married, becomes the friends of you and your family because your husband doesn't go out to make friends. And even when they find these friends through you, guess what? They don't call them. They don't do all that. So they do not have that social support. They do have the stress, but then they keep it in. But guess what? We women, we are very
Chatty, chatty.
chatty, chatty. We talk. We can even talk to a total stranger about the problem that we're having, about the stress. Guess what? The more. That is why, of course, psychotherapy is important. That is why, let me tell you, during this COVID, I've never had the kind of calls that I have during this COVID. People needing help because they are so stressed out. Guess what? Most of them are women,
Mm.
very few men. And that does not mean they do not experience the stress. They do experience the stress, but they keep it in. And that is why they are also susceptible to heart attack real quick. And
Mm.
guess what? Remember how I talked about the three phases: the alarm, the resistance, and the exhaustion. The men never do anything during the alarm phase when they get the stress. Their body can resist, but they're not doing much to resist it until they get to the exhaustion phase. And then you see your husband passed out. You're like, oh, baby, what happened? You call the doctor. He has been going through so many stress that even more than you're going through, but they just keep it in.
Because he
So
has to be macho. I guess, doctor, he has to stay macho, He has to stay like, the man. It has to be the man because when he complains, he might be reduced to, yeah, I'm just joking.
it's also biblical. Remember, the man takes the whole
Wow.
role, even biblical. Remember how the Bible even says that a man toil, the woman helps. So the man carries the shoulder of everything, except the man doesn't give it to somebody else. But a woman takes all this problem, gives it to the man, and gives it to all her friends. So the woman is free most of the time.
Because she just tells everybody her problem, and then she's like, because each time you talk about your problem with somebody, then you're like, you get a big relief that at least you've shared it. And the person might even maybe say something that will benefit you or not, but at least you guys talk over it and it's like nothing. Then you talk about it with somebody else. Yeah, you're so right. Thank you so much. Wow. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is a lot of, it's almost like we're in your classroom right now, learning about all of this terms and all of that, you know?
Yeah.
So we really appreciate your presence here and the wealth of knowledge that you bring to this channel. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So I'm looking at time because I do not want to take your time for granted. Erica, I don't know. Erica, I think Erica, I can see you don't have any further question from that.
You're welcome, Erica.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the time, like I said, and thank you so much for your presence. And I think so. Do you want to promise us that you can come back to do a part two of this session?
If you will have me, I will happily, like I told you earlier on, I love this channel. I've shared this channel with my children and I've shared this channel with my students. And I think this is a channel that can be shared all over because we all need anything that could help us with our health so that we can continue to live well, to be productive as we move on in life. So definitely, I will happily come back.
Wow. So do we say next week here? Do we provided next week is not
Let's look
Christmas?
at let's look at our calendar and see.
Okay, okay. So I'm gonna talk to you with you behind the scene, and yes, thank you so much once again. And it's 11 o'clock my time here, which is 12 o'clock your time, and you have another appointment. I totally respect that, and all my amazing beautiful viewers, I'm sure you enjoyed having Dr. Amaka in the house. I had done a profile of her, so you can rewind and listen to all the wealth of knowledge and all experiences and everything she's done and what she's doing right now. And we hope to have her again to come back to the channel and continue to educate and enlighten us on even other topics. I'm looking at really bringing her to educate us on all of that topic. She's volunteering this. Normally she's paid, a lot of money. You can share with me, send me some Western Union, So a lot of but she's volunteering this knowledge to the channel and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming and
You're
we
welcome.
look forward to having you again, Doctor. So, if you don't mind to maybe, I think most of the people here are my audience, but you already told them how you shared my channel and all of that. I'm so excited that you did. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ciao. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Okay. God bless. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay. So, she's gone now. Now we don't have the psychologist in the house, so we just have us now. So I hope that was very enlightening for us, and I'm going to talk with her behind the scene and schedule another time because I have, like I said to her, I have about 4 more questions that she needed to answer, but due to time, unfortunately, we have to do this again. Yes, Amaka Okeke is here. Thank you. So now I'm going to recognize everybody that came because time was of essence and I didn't want to, lose the time. We had just an hour with her. And I thought that was a lot of time too, considering what she's doing and her time. So we have Nkem. Nkem Beauty is here. Almost the first to show up. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate you. Love you so much. Thank you. And that's my husband, my support. You've always supported me and this channel. Really, really appreciate what you do. And thank you so much for being you. I have Erica. Erica, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate your time here today. Thank you for coming. And I have Chiso. Oh my God. Hola, Chiso. Love you, love you. Thank you so much, my dear daughter, for coming to support this stream today. Thanks a lot. We have Rose Uzama, is like my sister now. Thank you so much for coming. And she's a content creator that does a lot of enlightening. She talks about, you know, I think my favorite thing about your channel is when you talk about all those proverbs in Nigeria, how the Nigerian parents and things behave and all of that. Thank you for coming here today. Christina Flourishing, thank you so much. You talk about all of the great things about the Word of God and all of that. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're still here, but I really appreciate your presence today. And um, yeah, just so I have Erica, Rosuzama. Then I have my sister Cynthia. She's not a content creator, she's my big support as well. Cynthia, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you so much for coming. Really love and appreciate you a lot. I have Sylvia Link. Sylvia, thank you so much for coming. Sylvia does from everything to everything. Sometimes she's talking about inspiration and motivation, and which is we need all of that. The content creators in this house, you guys are amazing and you rock. I love you all, and we are a good family. So the People's Choice, I think you just monetized. Congratulations to you. I am so excited that you reached a milestone. That's really impressive. When you're not a content creator, you don't even know how much work that go into this. You think it's just, when the camera shows and you're there. It's a lot of work that go behind the scene, considering all that we bring on to our audience. I think I missed some people. I'm going backwards now. Um, I have missed some people. Let me just go back. So I have Yamuna, you're always there. Thank you so much, Yamuna. You do great things. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your support and all that you do as a content creator. I'm admiring you people. You said that. I didn't even say it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Yamuna. I always appreciate you. And I have Nash James of all that is going on in Jamaica. You're here. I really love that and I appreciate it. I don't know if you're still here, but I really, really appreciate you and for all your support. You do a lot of things regarding the hair and hair growth and even sometimes comedy. That is so good. Thank you so much. I have Chikeli Beauty. She is one of my first YouTuber that I got to know, and you've been amazing, and I love you, Chikeli Beauty. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you a lot. So, Cynthia, my sister, my sister, I got to meet you in Saudi Arabia. I really love you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. Um, so I'm just going through to see all the people. I don't want to miss anybody um, that have come here today. And if you guys want, I have time, I can relax. But I think, I don't know if everybody here, you guys know each other, or if you're connected with each other, it would be nice. Onyekachi, you're here, my young My young nephew, he even enjoys my program. That is so, so interestingly amazing. Love you, Onyeka. Thank you so much for coming to listen to this. It's interesting when young people find interest in what adults do. It's really, you know that those young people will go long ways because they are learning and getting wisdom, you know. And my husband is saying, thank you, Amaka and Unmasked, very enlightening. Thank you so much for your support all the time. Uh, she's so my daughter. Oh my gosh, I feel so favored and what's the word now? I feel so happy that Chiso, you're here today to support this live stream. Thank you so much. I love you. Rose, my dear. Thank you. Sylvia Link, thanks. Thank you so much. I joined Sylvia Link because yeah, I love what you do and thank you for your support. I'm gonna be having my shout outs, my 1K shout out, and most of the people is interesting that by the time I got my 1K, my audience, the people I have today, it's only Chikali Beauty and Rose Uzoma that was there when I got the 1K. So I'm going to be having my shout out soon. And, I'm feeling excited. I've been prolonging it and waiting because I want to make sure that it is stable. So I'm not going to go back and forth. So that is us done. Um, Thank you all for coming once again. I really, really appreciate and love the family that I have built on the YouTube as well. Um, yeah, thumbs up, Dan, ahead with us. Amaka, can you go ahead with us? Okay. I'm just making sure that I didn't miss anybody. Roberts, yeah, I miss Robert. Robert, are you still here? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Robert, thank you so much for coming to join this stream. Really appreciate your presence as well. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah, so I think if anybody wants to connect with anybody, you guys can see who you're not familiar with. And, yeah, Robert is all the way from Jamaica, a lot of countries are dealing with this COVID and everything else in different ways. And we just pray for God's strength in all of this. It's not been easy. That is one of the reasons why we decided to talk about this stress today, because with all that is going on, a lot of us are so stressed and we don't even know that we're stressed. And she talked about the immune system and how all of this, everything affects everything. It's like holistic. When I like to talk about it as holistic, it's like the body, the soul, and the mind and everything all work together. So when one part is not doing well, the other part is, going to fall apart. So I missed you, Mama Lanti, Queen TV. If you're still here, thank you so much for coming. Really, really appreciate your presence here today. So everyone is really okay. I miss Lukovian, my son. Thank you so much. He's another one person that has watched my video, every one of my videos. He's a young man, but a young man that just think about how to support me. And I really, really appreciate you for, the heart that you have to want to watch my videos and support what I do. Thank you so much for doing that. Um, I appreciate it a lot. I'm not taking it for granted. So, those are the people that have watched my video. Like my husband is watched every video, even though the first time that I told him that I have a video to post on YouTube, he was like, "Are you serious?" you know. But when I told him, it was all the COVID, And when I told him I was going to send this video, he was like, oh my gosh, but he supported it. And he's watched every video and every live stream. He's been there. So I really, really thank and appreciate you. So I think that's about it. I appreciate everybody. I know for people, because people are from different parts of the world. People in Saudi is about maybe 9 o'clock now. So I'm not going to keep you guys if you're still here, because I know you'll be going to bed. Tomorrow is work for some people. So yeah, so I'm just going to check all of the best. How best to handle stress, especially young mothers. Yeah, yeah, I missed this one. Robert talked about sanitizers. Yeah, I know sanitizers has become one huge thing, you know. And Rose Uzoma, you talked about cancer, hearing that ulcer is caused by stress. Yeah, it's it's interesting that that's what it's been. Yeah. So thank you to everybody. I think I've not missed express. I don't think I've missed anybody. Yeah. I think I've seen everybody. Yamuna said this. Two beautiful hosts on the screen. Yeah, thank you, Yamuna. Just thank you so much. I appreciate your support. I'm admiring you people. Naisha. Okay, so I'm going to set up for the next session so that we can complete this conversation. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to end it now. So, have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully, we can see before the Christmas. It's only next week now. So, it's not next week, it's actually this week. Wow. It's here. So, you all stay blessed and we shall connect soon. Okay, bye for now. Bye.